This is an Andy's Randomness special report. Reporting now, Andy Pollock.
Good morning, everyone. We are waiting for the daily COVID-19 briefing from New York Governor Andrew Mark Cuomo, live from Albany, New York. So I have the feed on right now. Quickly want to mention this is the only stream I'm doing today because I have a private event with Community Board 8 I'm going to be part of later this afternoon, so I'm not really going to be available, but I will mention I have Andy Plays being uploaded today at 5 p.m. on scheduled uploads, so please make sure that you have your notifications turned on. I will have the video up today at 5 p.m. Eastern. I will mention that it's Uncharted, so if you want to see Uncharted, I taped that, and I think I have to do another taping this week, but I know I have another video I have to edit this upcoming week, and then I'll have it uploaded on Sunday. So once again, we are waiting to hear from New York Governor Andrew Mark Cuomo. He will be live from Albany, New York shortly. So again, you have the info in the description below on how to get facts from the text lines. If you have any donations, the 212 phone number and the email address are in the description below. Yeah, Joy Jung, if I hear anything regarding power outages, I will look into it. But this is just a stream specifically for the governor. And I will mention, Joy Jung, I really hope I do not lose power today, because the last thing I need is to be on the Zoom meeting at 1:30 with Community Board 8, and all of a sudden, I'm trying to listen to my community board and my city councilman who is part of the community board, and all of a sudden, it gets cut off. That's the last thing I need today. That is the last thing I need today. Because they're going to be talking about the virus, of course. So, I wonder if anybody's going to have any local questions regarding that today. But, yeah, I'm just looking at the thing that says, stand by for a live announcement by Governor Andrew M. Cuomo. And it says, text New York to 81336 for updates from Mr. New Yorkers Love Me. Anyhow, I have an important announcement regarding alternate side parking. Mayor de Blasio, earlier this morning, I was listening in on 1010 Wins this morning. He made the announcement that alternate side parking in New York City has been suspended through at least April 28th. So again, alternate side parking has been suspended through April 28th. If you own a vehicle in New York City and you're in an area that has alternate side parking, once again, you do not have to move the vehicles. Once again, I will mention, oh, here comes Governor Cuomo. But one last thing, you do have to feed the meter. So here's Governor Cuomo.
Good morning. What day is today? It's a day that ends in Y. That's what day it is. It's Monday. I hope people enjoyed the best they could this different weekend, this different Easter celebration for those who celebrated Easter and Passover. Everybody knows who's here. Doctors to my right, Dr. Jim Malatras, Dr. Howard Zucker to my left, Secretary to the Governor Melissa DeRosa, and Budget Director Robert Mejica. Let's give you some facts, plain truth facts. Here's the good news. The curve continues to flatten. We talked all along, quote unquote, the experts said that there were two possibilities. You could have a high point and then an immediate drop off, or you could have a plateau. It appears that we have a plateau. It's flattening. It's the flattening of the curve. The increases slow down. It flattens out for a period of time. Nobody knows how long because nobody's been here before. But if you look at the number of total admissions, 18,000, 18,000, 18,000, 18,000, that's definitely a flattening. That is good news. Still going up a little bit, by the way. Go back a second. Still going up a little bit, but a basic flattening. as opposed to increasing gaps. The total number of hospitalizations, net, down, a little bit up, a little bit down, but overall just follow the line. Don't get caught up in the day-to-day. As we say, the 3-day rolling average, which is more accurate than any one day, is down again. The net change in ICU admissions is down. Again, I discount this ICU admissions because the old demarcation of an ICU bed in the hospital and a regular bed in the hospital is gone. Almost every bed is basically an ICU bed. Net change in ICU admissions is also down. Intubations is real. Intubations is the worst signal. People who are intubated wind up on a ventilator most often do not come off the ventilator, somewhere 70%, 80%, depending on who you talk to. So this is a scary number. When that's down, it's good, and that is down. The 3-day rolling average is down, so that's good news. We were worried about the spread from New York City to suburbs upstate, and we have been very aggressive. When we get a little cluster, a spot that's acting up, we jump on it. This is like watching a fire going through dry grass with a strong wind, and it's blowing the fire, and a couple of embers wind up on one side of the field, and embers start to catch fire, and that's a cluster, and you have to run over to those embers and stamp them out right away before they grow. But you see the stabilization there, and that has been good too. This is a new take on it. We talk about net hospitalizations. This is the number of new COVID hospitalizations to date. This is how many new COVID diagnoses or people walking into the hospital had COVID. So you see still about 2,000 people per day are walking in or being diagnosed with COVID. So you're still increasing the hospital population initially by 2,000 people who are testing positive for COVID, but on the other side of the healthcare system, people are being discharged on the other end. So the net is what we talk about, because we've always been worried about lack of capacity in the hospital system, where you pour the water into the glass and the glass overfills, where the hospital system just can't handle the number of people coming in. And that's why we've been studying the net. But this says, take a deep breath. You still have 2,000 people per day who are coming into the hospital system. And the terrible news is as terrible as it gets, and the worst news I've had to deliver to the people of this state as governor of New York, and the worst news I've had to live with on a personal level. Number of deaths is 671. Not as bad as it has been in the past, but basically flat, and basically flat at a horrific level of pain and grief and sorrow. This is 671 people who passed away on Easter Sunday. For me, I'm Catholic. Easter Sunday is the high holy day in many ways, and one of the high holy days. And to have this happen over this weekend is really, really especially tragic. And they are all in our thoughts and prayers. That raises the death total to 10,056. Again, for perspective, 2,700 lives were lost in 9/11.
I'm sorry to interrupt the governor's press conference, folks, but we have breaking news from the National Weather Service in New Jersey right now. I have to cut in because this is very important. This cannot wait. The National Weather Service in Mount Holly, New Jersey, and some parts are from Upton. There is a tornado watch for the following counties in New Jersey, and they are Atlantic, Burlington, Camden, Cape May, Cumberland, Gloucester, Hunterdon, Mercer, Middlesex, Monmouth, Morris, Ocean, Salem, Somerset, Sussex, and Warren. This has just been issued by the National Weather Service. This tornado watch will expire at 6 p.m. tonight. So be on the lookout. Keep your notifications turned on. I just got the notification from my phone, of course. Yes, this is mostly in the Philadelphia region. So, oh, folks, breaking news. Breaking news. I'm going to double check this right now, but it looks like my viewers in Nassau County, Delaware may need to keep an eye on this. Yes, here we go. Here we go. Yes. Oh, folks. Folks, this is bad news. This is bad news. Parts of Pennsylvania are also affected. Parts of Dover are also affected. Wait, all of Delaware. Yes, all of Delaware is under a tornado watch until 6 p.m. tonight. Baltimore and D.C. are also under this tornado watch. So you need to keep an eye on this. So I'll be back with more information as soon as we're going to go right now back to Governor Cuomo's press conference.
People, 400 people, now you have a problem. This goes back to the Spanish flu, where some cities canceled parades, other cities didn't cancel parades. We went through these numbers when we had the decision on the St. Patrick's Day parade, which Bernadette still will not forgive me for. But you can have a parade in a relatively small city, but you bring people together, and this virus has a feeding frenzy. Where do we go from here? Question of reopening, which everyone wants to do, and everybody wants to do yesterday. I am at the top of that list. We have to understand on the reopening, as much as we have this emotion, we want it to happen, and we want it to happen now, and we can't take this anymore, and everyone feels the same. It is a delicate balance. Remember what we have to do on reopening. And remember, it has never been done before. None of this has been done before. So anyone who says to you, oh, I know what we should do. I know. Yeah, you don't know because nobody knows. And that's the one thing that we have learned over and over again. And this place has never done this before. Also, you look around the world, you see warning signs from countries who have opened. And my point is to our team, I want to learn from those other countries, frankly. And I want to make sure we know from our studying and assessment of what's going on in other countries that what worked, what didn't work, and let's learn from those lessons. And you can now go back and look at Wuhan province and look at Italy and look at South Korea and see what they did and see what worked and what didn't work. So let's learn. So we'll listen to the experts, we'll follow the data. But remember, this is a delicate balance. What are we doing on reopening? We are easing isolation. We want to increase economic activity. That will happen essentially through a recalibration of what are essential workers. Remember, we never turned off the economy. Right? The economy is still functioning. You can get in your car, you can get gasoline, you can go to the grocery store, you can shop. You can get on a bus. The economy is functioning. We never turned it off. We turned it way, way down, and it's just the essential services that have been operating, but the essential services have all been operating. What you will be doing, in essence, on the reopening is recalibrating what is essential, right? You'll start to open that valve on the economic activity, and you'll turn that valve very slowly, reopening the economy, more essential workers. Do it carefully, do it slowly, and do it intelligently, more testing and more precautions. at the same time that you're opening that valve. More testing, so you have more information about who should be coming in, etc. More precautions, because you know that works, as you're calibrating and opening the valve. And while you're opening that valve, watch the meter. What's the meter? The meter is the infection rate. The meter is those daily hospitalization rates. And there is a cause and effect. You have density, you have more people infecting other people, you will see it within a matter of days in that hospitalization rate. So yes, open the valve slowly, advised by experts. Keep your eye on the meter. The meter is the infection rate. And watch that infection rate. And if you see that infection rate start ticking up, which would be undermining everything we have accomplished thus far, then you know you've opened the valve too fast. That is the delicate balance that we have to work through. And that is what has never been done before. And nobody can tell you today, I know how to do that, because it just hasn't happened. So what do? First, we come up with a reopening plan. I'm not interested in political opinions. I'm interested in what the experts say about this. To the best they can tell you. But you have public health experts. They can study South Korea. They can study China. They can study all the data that we have. You have economic experts that can help you decide what is the next notch of essential workers that can actually start the economy back up and have a consequential change. But that is a real plan, and that has to be developed, and that has to be smart. The wider the geographic area for that plan, the better, because this virus doesn't understand governmental boundaries. Well, I'm Westchester County, so you virus have to stop before entering here and follow my rules. No. The virus follows its own boundaries and its own guidelines, and it doesn't have any. The geographic area that is an economic area, a workforce area, a transportation area, that's the relevant area that we have to be looking at. You have to coordinate all these systems. You can't start one system without starting the other systems. You can't start the economic system without starting the transportation system. And if you can't run the transportation system, then you can't reopen the economy. It just doesn't happen. You have to coordinate the schools with the transportation, with the economic system. These systems work in coordination. They're big gears, and each gear intermeshes with the other gear. And you can't start one gear with the other gear stopped, right? That's the coordination. You're going to need federal support, and you're going to need smart legislation passed by the federal government that actually attends to the need, as opposed to normal political considerations. Testing is going to be key, and that's a new frontier for us also. This state is probably the most aggressive state in the nation in actually getting the testing up. We test more than any other state. We test more than other countries. We test more than the other states, leading states combined in testing. But that's still not enough, and we have to do more. And we know that the precautions work. The masks work, the gloves work, the temperature taking works. It's abnormal, it's different, but it works, and we have to do it. And while we're doing this, we have to remember to stay the course and not jeopardize what we have achieved. And we have achieved much. This afternoon, I'll be joined by other governors. We've been talking to other states, Connecticut, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Rhode Island, for the past couple of days about coming up with, how do we come up with a reopening plan? And can we work together on a reopening plan? And we'll be having an announcement this afternoon with other governors about just that, the reopening plan. And as I said, the optimum is to have as coordinated a regional plan as you can. I understand intergovernmental coordination can be somewhat of an oxymoron, but to the extent we can work with Connecticut and New Jersey and Rhode Island and Delaware and Pennsylvania, I want to. It is smarter for everyone, for people of their state and for the people of my state. And this is a time for smart, competent, effective government. Nothing else matters. I want to make sure that I can say to the people of this state, we did everything we could to the best of our ability. And the optimum is a geographically coordinated plan. I don't believe we could ever get to total coordination with the other states because all the states have a little different set of circumstances and facts. I don't even believe we should have a uniform plan without recognizing the state-by-state distinctions. But to the extent we can coordinate, we should and we will. Last point, and this is a personal point, when is it over? I have this conversation 100 times a day. I had it last night with my daughters. When is it over? And it's a difficult conversation because people want it to be over so badly, right? I want the fear to stop. I want the anxiety to stop. I don't want to have to worry about my brother anymore. I don't want to have to worry about my daughters. I don't want to have to worry about my mother. I want it over. I want to get out of the house. I want to get back to normalcy. I've been living on this weird, disorienting, frightening place. I'm afraid to touch people. This it violates the human behavior and needs. When is it over? It's not going to be over like that. It's not going to be we flick a switch and everybody comes out of their house and gets in their car and waves and hugs each other and the economy all starts up. I would love to say that's going to happen. It's not going to happen that way. It can't happen that way. Can it happen in some communities across the country where, frankly, they have very low infection rates and they could come up with a testing regimen where if they find 1 or 2 cases, they quickly jump on those 1 or 2 and they isolate and they track? Yes. But is that going to happen here? No. Is that going to happen in any community that has a significant issue? No. There is going to be no epiphany. There is going to be no morning where the headline says, hallelujah, it's over. That's not going to happen. What will happen is there'll be points of resolution over time. What does that mean? There'll be points of resolution. There'll be points where we can say we've accomplished something, we should feel better, we should feel more calm, we should feel more relaxed, and it will be incremental. We're controlling the spread. We are controlling the spread. You look at those numbers, you know what it says? We're controlling the spread. I was afraid that it was going to infect my family no matter what I did. We're past that. If you isolate, if you take the precautions, your family won't get infected. We can control the spread. Feel good about that. Because, by the way, we could have gotten to a point where we said, we can't control this damn thing. We can't control it. It's in the air. It gets into your house. It doesn't matter. You close the door. It comes under the door. You could have gotten there. We're not there. Those numbers say we can control the spread. Feel good about that. The worst is over. Yeah, if we continue to be smart going forward, because remember, we have the hand on that valve. You turn that valve too fast, you'll see that number jump right back. But, yes, I think you can say the worst is over, because the worst here are people dying. That's the worst. The worst doesn't get any bad than this worst. And this worst is people die. That's the worst. And Winston Churchill, I mentioned the other day, the end of the beginning. Yes, we can control the spread, and we can reduce the number of people who die, And our healthcare system can do phenomenal work and rise to the occasion and deal with this beast. It has not overwhelmed the healthcare system. We have controlled the spread. And there is confidence to be taken in that. And that's an accomplishment. And it was a heck of an accomplishment. Those healthcare workers, for the rest of my life, I will say nothing but thank you to them. And I was not sure that we could keep the tide from overwhelming our hospital capacity. And they did. Feel good about that. And I believe the worst is over if we continue to be smart. And I believe we can now start on the path to normalcy. And we can have a plan where you start to see some businesses reopening, understanding the delicate balance. I think there'll become a point where there's an announcement that we have a medical treatment, that you can get sick, but they found an antiviral medication that can help you treat the disease. So take another deep breath when we get to that point, because, okay, you get infected, but there's a drug regimen that can help you. And then you'll get to a point where they announce we have a proven vaccine. That's when it's over. That's really when it's over. They have a vaccine, it's been tested, it's been proven, they can produce it, you're going to get a vaccine, this is a thing of the past, don't worry about it, close the chapter, move on. Okay, when do we get there? 12 months to 18 months. I can't believe you said 12 months to 18 months, as Cara said to me. It's 12 months to 18 months. When Dr. Fauci says how long until a vaccine, he says 12 months to 18 months. When the FDA is asked how long until you get a vaccine, they say 12 months to 18 months. That is the point. When you ask me, when can I do a deep breath for the first time in 5 weeks? When they say we have a vaccine. That's when it is over. But there will be points between now and then where we should feel more confident and we should feel better. Well, I want it to be over tomorrow. I get it. I want it to be over tomorrow. I want it to be over tomorrow more than you want it to be over tomorrow. But that's not reality. So let's calibrate our expectations. And in the meantime, stay the course, because we have accomplished a lot through heroic efforts of healthcare workers, police officers, transportation workers who showed up to drive those trains and buses every day. I mean, people just doing extraordinarily brave, generous, courageous things every day, literally putting their lives at risk for the public. And we have flattened that curve by people's actions, which, remember, is why those projection models were all wrong. The projection models were high, they weren't wrong. It's a bad word. What they were saying is this is where the infection will go if unabated. What's the question mark on whether or not you can abate it? Can you put forth a government policy, but more, will people listen to the government policy? You have 19 million people in New York. I could stand up here all day long and say, you must social distance, you must stay home. If New Yorkers don't believe it, if Americans don't believe it, if they question their government, if I don't have credibility, why do I stand here and go through all the facts? I'm not asking any New Yorker to take my word for anything. I'm not asking any American, take my word for it. Here are the facts. I'll give you the facts. The good facts, the bad facts, the ugly facts, you get all the facts. You tell me what you decide. They decided on the facts that they would comply. And they've done things I would have never dreamed that they would do. And they've actually made significant progress. Do not reverse the progress that we have made in our zeal to reopen and get back to normal. That's going to be the challenge going forward. But we'll do it because we are New York tough. And tough is not just tough. We know what tough is, but tough is also smart, and tough is also united, and tough is also disciplined. And tough, most importantly, is loving. Well, that sounds counterintuitive. They sound repugnant. No, 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 no. Toughest people are strong enough to say love.
All right, folks. That was Governor Cuomo. But again, we know under the circumstances, and thankfully, again, he just wrapped up the press conference. So what I'm going to do right now, since we are dealing with an emergency situation with the weather right now, we're now going to take you live to WPVI television in Philadelphia in just a minute. We are going to go live to ABC 6 in Philadelphia because I am getting concerned that Newcastle could see a tornado, and I'm very worried that the Delmarva affiliates are not going to, in fact, cover the outbreak. So I am trying to get my my thing to work, so just hang on. Just trying to see if it'll work out. Yes, so I'm just double checking. Okay, we're good. So I know they're supposed to start the news in Philadelphia in just a second, so I am directly able to get a feed of WPVI television in Philadelphia. So just hang on, folks. I'm trying to get my media account. Once again, I have an account that lets me get out-of-market affiliates. The licensing agreement, stuff like that. Why can't I log into this? This is kind of urgent. I need to be on. Come on, let's go. There we go. Now it's working. I was getting worried there for a second. Okay, looks like I am able to get WPVI right now, so let's join in. Here is WPVI in Philadelphia.
Sending a message.
Sorry about that, folks. WPVI is in commercial right now, so I will wait for them to start their noon broadcast because I got a notification from their app that says all of the Philadelphia region is expecting it. So, here we go. We'll now join WPVI in progress.
Delaware Valley's leading news program with meteorologist David Murphy, Sarah Bloomquist, and Brian Tass.
Monday afternoon in the news today, the region's largest coronavirus field hospital opens its doors to medical staff, and an early morning fire kills 2 children in Philadelphia's Strawberry Mansion section. We've got a live report. But the big story on Action News this noon is an AccuWeather alert. We've got heavy rain, strong storms, and high winds on tap today. And yes, a tornado watch now in effect. Live look outside through Sky 6 gives us the view over a dismal Center City skyline, or the Ben Franklin Parkway right now. Very much a day to stay inside. Some of you should prepare for possible power outages. That tornado watch was just issued for the entire region, as those arriving thunderstorms could take a severe turn today. Let's get right to meteorologist David Murphy live now in the Weather Center. David, a whole lot to watch today.
Yeah, no kidding. And Brian, this has just been posted within the last half hour. You mentioned it, a tornado watch until 6 o'clock this evening across the entire region. We do want you to stay weather aware with your smartphone apps. 6ABC will be running those crawls if anything does happen, and of course 6abc.com as well. There you see the watch box just firing up. We already have had some very strong wind gusts and one line of thunderstorms this morning that had 50-mile-per-hour gusts that did bring down a bunch of trees, but now, of course, we're watching for another round of potentially severe weather that could be even worse. Cape May Harbor, however, was one of the spots that's seen a real strong gust, 72 miles per hour a little earlier this morning. We've had trees and wires down, trees on roads and highways in all of these areas. Right now, we are looking at, in our storm report file, gusts going 60 to 72 miles per hour in Cape May County and down here in the Delmarva, the southern Delmarva in particular. It's not because of thunderstorms, that's just because of the general strong winds in the atmosphere. And earlier rain Also gave us a couple of flood warning areas. Crum Creek, Christina River, are two of the waterways that we still have some residual flooding, and a little bit of this going on in and around Mercer County as well. It looks like Bucks County has now been dropped from that. In terms of current rain, there are some showers beginning to develop in Newcastle County, Chester County, and you see some lines, some ribbons of deep red and yellow. These are the thunderstorms that are beginning to pop. Right now, you see the movement from south to north, though, so most of what we have over to the west of us is still over in Lancaster County. Some of this beginning to pop up into southern Chester County, and it looks like eastern Berks County and the Lehigh Valley about to pick up some of that as well. Nothing severe out there just yet, but as we take a look at Future Tracker 6, there's going to be a lot of this today. A couple of bands of it possible by 1 or 2 o'clock. Certainly a chance of some strong weather, and then as a cold front comes through later this afternoon, there could be one last line of these storms. Again, Brian, any storm that does form today would have the potential for some damaging straight line winds and perhaps a tornado. All of these storms could bring down large trees, as we've already seen in parts of the region earlier this morning. It goes until 6 o'clock tonight.
Okay, David, thank you very much. And as David just mentioned, Cape May, New Jersey took it on the nose this morning. This is an image from Congress Hall there, falling victim to that strong wind he mentioned. That wind tore off part of the roof of that historic hotel. Not clear at this point if anyone was injured here, but we've received a whole lot of reports of downed trees and damage across South Jersey. Well, that same line of severe weather left communities in several southern states in shambles. Several tornadoes tore through Mississippi and Louisiana on Easter Sunday, turning over cars and damaging hundreds of homes and businesses. Both governors declared states of emergency in the wake of those powerful storms. Dozens of tornadoes have been reported in 6 states. At least 19 people are dead.
We have hundreds of lines down, and this is going to take a long time for us to recover from. We're not.
Alright, so briefly, once again, that was WPVI Television. Once again, that was meteorologist Daniel Murphy. He is very reliable when it comes to weather in Philadelphia, so that's why, of course, I wanted to get an update from him. So, you heard it from him, folks. The Delaware Valley and most of Delmarva is, in fact, under a tornado watch, and it includes also all of Delaware. So, again, my viewers in Delaware, if you're in Newcastle, if you're in Kent, if you're in Sussex, I think now would be the time to, I guess, get all the preparations you need in that area right now. As far as New York is concerned, once again, I have my phone with me. I'm charging it as much as I can because the last thing I need is to not have a phone. And then if the cell towers are working and I need to get LTE to get information, then I'm out of luck if I can't, go that route. I guess I should answer Joy Chung's question. Very quickly, I'm just going to put abc.com on right now. I'm going to turn off WPVI so I can get a better bandwidth. And again, I do have to leave the air. Well, I'm going to leave the air shortly, potentially, because, again, there's really no need for me to be on the air right now. I can't get your WBOC at the moment, unless maybe we can check in with Mike Lynchiak of WBOC at 12:15. We may be able to get an update from him. Mike Lynchiak is the morning and midday meteorologist for WBOC, which is the CBS Fox affiliate in Delmarva, of course. So I just want to quickly see if he's bringing up the notice from Mount Holly right now. I'll tune into them. Thankfully, I am able to get out of market CBS and out of market. It can get anything out of market. It's possible.
On the eastern end of Long Island, we still have a 70-mile-per-hour
Okay,
wind gust.
Sam
This
Champion's
tapers
giving an
down
update for
around
New
to
York.
midnight to 15 to 20-mile-per-hour winds. So here we are with our tornado watch, all in New Jersey right now, but I would expect some of us could have the potential of seeing that tornado and, like strong storms, move through the area. It's just the cooler waters that'll help keep that from being a real problem, but western areas see it a little bit tougher. Wind warning is in effect here. Also the wind advisory. That means we're going to continue to see these strong winds in excess of 60, 65 miles per hour. As we showed you, expect a 70-mile-per-hour gust. Here are the storms that we've still got to get through. These are the storms we saw this afternoon. There's some developing right in central New Jersey right now. Each one of these I want to keep an eye on for the potential warnings that could be developed here. And this doesn't end until this back line comes through here this afternoon. We're watching it for you, with you. You won't be surprised by these storms. I won't let you. So we'll be doing this all day long, and then Leo can pick it up this afternoon. Tony, David, back to you.
Very busy afternoon, Sam. Thank you. And as he mentioned, we're seeing severe weather right now. In New Jersey, a tree slammed into a home in Cresskill, and we have learned that people have been hurt. Right now, more than 25,000 customers are without power in New Jersey. Eyewitness News reporter Mike Marza is live in Cresskill. Mike.
Tony, fortunately, not serious injuries here, but the wife who was in the house, she did go to the hospital to get checked out. Let me show you what happened. They thought some stuff might go down today because their lights went out about 5 o'clock this morning. They knew the severe weather. It was an AccuWeather alert day. They prepared for that. It was a husband and wife and their 16-year-old daughter inside this home here in Cresskill. They heard a loud roar about 11 o'clock in the morning. Then this fence broke. That's because this giant tree snapped, and you can see the tree then snapped through the fence and then came crashing down on top of their home. On the other side of this wall and the ceiling, that's the bedroom. The husband and wife were lying in their bed. The ceiling fan then came down because of the force of the tree, and a blade of the ceiling fan, the husband believes, hit the wife. Now, she did go to the hospital, as I mentioned, to get checked out. The 16-year-old daughter, who was in a different part of the house, she came running. They all escaped the home. A couple of dogs as well. They're all safe, but you can tell just how significant this damage is here. They've talked to the neighbor. The tree was on the neighbor's home. The neighbor came down to make sure everybody was okay. But this tree is huge. Mike, if we can swing around here, you can tell just how tall it is now that it's on the ground. All of this playing out about an hour ago. Let's hear from the homeowner who described what happened.
We were in the bedroom with my wife and the dogs, and it just came crashing to the ceiling. I mean, I was lucky to get out alive, but I think my wife got some minor injuries. It took down the whole majority of the house, so the town came by and they're saying we need to vacate. We can't stay anymore.
And so they do have another home in the area, and they're exploring an opportunity to maybe go over there because, mind you, all of this is happening as this shelter-in-place directive is still in effect. So they're trying to wade how that's going to work. They've been in touch with the insurance. I mentioned the couple that has the tree on their property. They came down to check on them. But a lot of this to be cleaned up in the midst of this pandemic. But fortunately, they don't believe anybody was seriously injured, even though the wife is getting checked out. We're live in Cresskill. Mike Marza, Channel 7. Eyewitness News.
Thank you, Mike. In fact, we're seeing damage from the weather all across the tri-state area, including downed wires in Westchester County. Right now, more than 12,000 customers are without power in the county. Eyewitness News reporter Joe Torres live in Rye with more. Joe.
David will show you that tree on the wires in just a moment, but for the second now, we are here in Rye, right along Theodore Fremd Avenue, and this is a senior center where we came by and we saw this tree, probably not as big as the one that Mike had in New Jersey, but still substantial nonetheless. This tree that sort of fell down across the parking lot of the senior center, and as you make your way towards that Toyota, you can see that the branches on the top end of the tree caught the Toyota. Some of the windshield is damaged there. The good news, there was no one in the vehicles, there was no one outside at the time, nobody hurt, and this is on property that's off sort of the main road, so it's not going to get in the way of traffic. Now let's show you that tree we were talking about just a few minutes ago. This was in Greenburgh. We saw this earlier today right along Dobbs Ferry Road, and that's a pretty substantial tree there. It is leaning over on top of some power lines. The Greenburgh police have the roadway blocked off in both directions, but this is going to be the concern throughout the day today, both in Westchester, Rockland, Putnam, Dutchess counties, is you've got the moisture from all the rain and then the high winds that are pushing trees over and in some cases knocking them down. You talked a little bit about the power outages in Westchester County. We can tell you there's also power outages, 18,000 in Putnam, 18,000 in Dutchess, and you've got 10,000 in Orange County. So as those winds pick up throughout the day, today, you can expect to see more trees coming down and trees coming down on power lines. We'll keep you posted throughout the day. You can check abc7ny.com for updates as we move through the the afternoon, but it looks like it's going to be a long day. Yet another reason to sort of stay inside today. For now, the rain for the first time all day today, at least in our area, has lightened up. Hopefully it stays that way. Sam will tell you a little bit more about that. But for now, we're live in Rye. I'm Joe Torres, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
Hopefully. Joe, thank you. Now to the coronavirus crisis in New York. We have reached a grim milestone as the death toll surpasses.
All right, folks. So once again, that was my ABC affiliate here in New York City, WABC TV, of course. Obviously, with IP address tracking, that's why I'm able to pick up my local affiliate using my cable login, of course. Once again, I had another separate account that lets me get out-of-market affiliates. I'm not going to say how I do it because, again, I only use it for types of emergencies where I need local affiliates to simulcast. Like I did yesterday with Shreveport, Louisiana. That was a different story. I have another feed of WBOC from YouTube. I don't prefer to use that right now, because I just want to see if Mike Lynchiak in Salisbury will be giving an update. I'm assuming he will be. Unless maybe I'm wrong, and please, I hope I'm wrong. Let's see. And then that might be the last weather thing I do today. Let me just see if I can get it on. Okay, there we go. So I'm able to get WBOC if I can pick them up. Looks like I'm able to. It's buffering. That's a good sign.
Looking to the community for help, asking them to purchase gift cards, order food or products.
I hate those stupid scams. Yeah, they're airing a consumer report from CBS about the virus, which I guess I can understand why they have to do it. I mean, the network's obligating them, I think, to do it, I guess, because they are a CBS Fox affiliate. So I'll just check the comments. Yeah, Joy Jung, I don't really know what Long Island situation is with the weather. I would suggest to just keep your notifications turned on in your phone, or get the emergency alerts that go, there's supposed to be emergency alerts you get on your phone. Okay, this is interesting. Dan Satterfield is in the studio today about to do the weather. This is very interesting. I am completely shocked. They just showed Dan Satterfield in the Weather Center in Salisbury right now. That is very surprising because, again, I have a way to get WBOC away from New York. I have ways to do it. Just like how I'm able to get... Because the thing is, like, I used an incognito tab to change the location on the computer. I'm not going to say how I do it. You can look it up on YouTube. Then that's just an issue I don't want to get into today. But, yeah, I know I'm watching my affiliate because they're showing WBOC FM. A commercial for it. So, it's amazing how we have this global pandemic of coronavirus, and then all of a sudden you have this severe weather outbreak. I can't understand how this is humanly possible. I really can't. Thankfully, we're not going to get a tornado watch here in New York, but it could be possible. I'm praying not. And then, worst case scenario, I could be back here on YouTube to maybe do another stream if something does happen here in New York. I'm willing to do it. So, if possible, if I am available later this afternoon, because again, 1:30 is my meeting with Community Board 8, so I don't know how that's going to work out. So I really do have to be on that Zoom call today, because again, I'm supposed to be hearing from my representatives from my community board today and my city councilman about the virus. Because here in Fresh Meadows, I know back in March we did see a lot of COVID patients, and sadly last night somebody was parking their minivan in front of my house. It was a Toyota Sienna minivan. I recognized it because they've parked on my street before. There was a lady who looked disoriented, and she fell down on my lawn last night. And I was like, let them be, because she might have been a patient that could have just came home from the hospital last night at 1 o'clock in the morning, because I had an issue with my TV last night in my room. Okay. So we are going to go to the forecast, but I did see it last night, so I wasn't going to ask they needed help, because, social distancing, of course. So let me get to WBOC. Here we go.
It's been a wild night and a wild day so far. The wind's just incredible out there. Reminder, grab our BOC weather app. Keep that with you. That will warn you immediately of any warnings that we get. We already have a tornado watch up. One more time, Indian Beach, 79 mile per hour gust, 63 at Cambridge. Lewis has had a gust to 61 miles per hour. Some other gusts, Salisbury in the last 24 hours. Most of this morning and early today, 54. Atlantic City's been up to 62. Philadelphia just shy of 50 mile per hour wind gust as well. Here is radar right now. We had that band of rain go through earlier. This is the cold front coming in from the west, and a band is formed out ahead of it. We now have a tornado warning on this cell south of D.C. and one near Baltimore. These cells, with the wind shear in the atmosphere so strong, can start to rotate very easily. We're really worried that we may end up getting a tornado warning as they cross Delmarva. We do have a tornado watch for the northern half of Delmarva till 6 o'clock this evening. There's a little dry slot in here as well. That's dry air wrapping around this big low pressure center to our north. So once this line of storms comes through here around 3 or 4 o'clock, maybe even before that, we're going to start to clear out. It'll be very mild before that cool air comes in later tonight. That's the Bay Health camera in Dover right now. Very windy, 66 degrees there, south wind at 26. And look at our camera up on the tower, the Paul Davis camera, 600 feet up on the tower. That thing is really shaking. That wind up there is just howling. Temperatures generally in the mid-60s right now. The front comes through tonight. We drop back down into the 40s, upper 40s by tomorrow morning, and a quiet day tomorrow. Paul, I'll toss it to you over at RDE.
Now, our big concern along the coast is going to be the continuation of those winds. The high wind warnings are a primary concern for us, and we are going to have problems with inundation or some flooding in some of the coastal regions. But right now, we want to focus on what's happening with the forecasted wind gust over the next 2 to 3 hours. That's going to be the window of opportunity where we're going to have to keep a close eye on what's happening. We're expecting a 73 mile per hour gust pushing out to the south by the 1 o'clock hour for us, and that's just moments away, so to speak. 58 mile per hour gust in Bethany Beach, and then 52 for us in Rehoboth Beach and Milton, 67. As we progress to, let's say, 2 o'clock, we see the winds, just a slight shift is happening. All these arrows you see, that's the direction in which the winds are coming out of the south. We're looking at a 64 mile per hour gust in Georgetown and Milton. Now, be mindful that we're looking for power outages to be a primary concern for us from Rehoboth down towards Bethany Beach, and we still have these heavy winds and dangerous situations for us all the way up till 4 o'clock until we get to the 6 o'clock hour after that front begins to push through. Now, there's a lot of calm after the storm, but the storm is still rearing up. And please keep in mind, we're not out of the woods yet. We have to wait until that front passes by around the 2 to perhaps even 3 o'clock hour. Jackie, back to you.
All right, well, thanks. Just ahead here at noon, the Easter Bunny gets a special.
All right, so that was very interesting. That was also from WRDE Television. That's Paul Williams. Now, that's very interesting because there's only one time of the day where I'll watch Paul down there. And that is when I'm waiting, obviously since, I'm out of market, might as well just watch the NBC affiliate news before Fallon starts normally. And, yeah, I might tune in tonight just for the heck of it because I have my affiliates down there. But you clearly saw that it's going to be interesting the next 12 hours. They just announced right now, and I got to bring this up. There's a tornado warning south of D.C. So what I'm going to do right now, and I think there's a way I can do this. Hang on. It may take a while to get it on. But I have a way to do it. Let me just see if I can get it on. So I'm not going to put my other thing on. I might as well just get the CBS affiliate, since time is of the essence. I just have to type in a command that will let me override the location of my computer. Okay. Alright, so I'm not going to tell you how I hack things, but I'm hacking into DC's feed right now, so hang on. Gotta type in the time zone, otherwise it won't work. Okay, there we go. So I have to do a new tab, then enable the location. Okay, let's see if I can get it on. Here's Washington, D.C. So let's see if I can join into WUSA television. And if that's the... Looks like we are able to. Okay, can we join WUSA? Hope we're going to be able to in these circumstances. Yes, here we go. WUSA is live right now.
Warnings are deeper red, and the yellow is a severe thunderstorm warning up to the north, up toward Martinsburg and Hagerstown, where Howie showed you the one with the hail.
Right, and Topper, I want to just point out that storm down toward west of Quantico that we're watching, northern Stafford into Prince William County, where we've got the tornado warning on, and we're on that right now, just showing you that near Copp, real close to Copp. That one could also clip into southern Fairfax. If that lifted a little bit, whether it get northwest Charles or down toward Lorton, Dale City, those areas. So I would be taking cover now. And even the storm up here, the severe one that we're tracking for Berkeley, Frederick, Morgan, and Washington, even that warning said there's some rotation on that. So that has the potential to spin up a tornado too. And the big picture, this is all at the moment just north and west of Washington, but we've got not just the line on top of us, but that secondary line. So the watch goes till 6 unless they clip it down. So this could be the first of a couple or three batches of possibly tornadic lines that we'll be looking at over the next couple hours. The good news here is that by 3 o'clock, it looks like the bulk of this is east of us and not a problem, but the next 90 minutes to 2 hours are going to be ones that you're going to want to take cover, pay attention, and stay up on the weather. And we're going to stay on air until the tornado warnings are no longer warnings. So we will ride you through this collectively. Topper?
Yeah, well, real quickly, just talk about the flooding. We showed some streets that were closed and had trouble earlier today. One was in Kensington. I mean, the rainfall pretty impressive. 3 inches of rain right around Dale City. You're going to get hammered again. Manassas about 3 inches, and the blue is about 2 inches. So that is another threat. Obviously, if you're out and you're not working from home, you don't want to cross a flooded street by car or by foot. You just don't want to do it. It's just not worth the risk. This is the storm up in Ellicott City. I'm going to actually go back down to the storm that's headed almost across 95 here, and we'll kind of show you the shear that Howie was talking about. This is a pretty impressive storm. So I want folks to take it seriously whether or not we get issued the tornado warning or not in your area. So I'll put this back on. So this is where the warning is right now. That's a tornado warning for Prince William and Stafford County until 12:45. And if we just, I'm going to take this away for just a second, and we're going to zoom in a little bit. And again, green is toward the radar site. I'll show you that in just a second. The radar site in this case is back towards Sterling, so that green is going this way. Whoops, green is going back toward the site to the northwest, and then red is going away. So
Looks like it's by 234,
and
maybe
like that. And look at the. Let's just see what. Yeah, gate to gate 76. Let me just get in a little closer here. So Copp, I tell you, wow. This all looks pretty like damaging winds, really, from what was that, Minnieville Road through Westgate Fire Road and then just around Copp.
Yeah, around almost up to Dale Boulevard, Springs Road. There, I see it, Topper.
Pretty serious.
Coming in now and moving around 40 miles an hour, sure. Right toward Dale City. So if you're in Dale City, as Topper said, Fitzner Stadium, eventually to Lake Ridge. And we're talking the next 5 minutes. I mean, this stuff's moving at 40 miles an hour, so it is booking to the east, northeast, and then Lorton and Indian Head. And let's get you back on the reflectivity view.
There.
When you're
yeah, Minnieville, get ready too. All right, take it back to Hallie. Thank you.
Fairfax down to Dale City, but the storm itself, as we're looking at it, looks like the core of it right about there as they're tracking it to the northeast, east-northeast. And if this thing starts to turn a little bit more to the right of that track, that's a sign of intensification. So just be careful. If it's a little south of this, then you know it's worse than what we're currently looking at. But Dale City, 1236, Woodbridge, 1241, over toward Lorton at 1244 on that. D.C. is just to the northeast. Right now, it looks like it's going to track just south of Washington. We've got the other tornado warning really now for Baltimore, Baltimore City, and eastern parts of Howard County, just to the north of Columbia now. So that's tracking across 70 there. And out to the west, we've got severe thunderstorm warnings lining up in the Shenandoah Valley. Look at this all the way down. It's Cross Junction south now, west of Strasburg, and up toward, and there's that hail we're thinking we're probably seeing there. I'm going to punch up the hail on that, too, Topper. That's way northwest of Washington near Hedgesville. This is in West Virginia. Cherry Run about to cross in toward Clear Spring in Washington County. And the hail size, let's see if we can just take a quick peek on that. Nothing, not as bad as maybe it's looking, but we could still have some hail upwards 3/4 of an inch to an inch. Yeah, 0.9 is what it's saying there. So certainly looking at some hail with that. And well, let's get you the big picture one more time. These storms are lining up in a couple of lines. One from just west of Baltimore to just west of D.C. down into southern Prince William County through Fairfax, and it's the one in southern Prince William with a tornado warning. And that second line doesn't have tornado warnings, but those thunderstorms may spin up to be tornadic as well. But first things first, D.C. at the moment is under a tornado watch. Everybody in the red underneath, tornado watch until 6 p.m. At the moment, Weather Service usually starts clipping these back once the severe threat has ended, but that's still going to take another 90 minutes to 2 hours, I believe. So we're talking about potential damaging winds, potential hail, an inch, and storms which right now are moving 40, 50 miles an hour, might even move faster than that in some cases.
Yeah, in fact, you know, we talked about this earlier, HB, you know, the threats for severe weather. You know, we don't issue red weather alerts very often, and we did this yesterday.
Yeah, you asked me, I said, without hesitation, yes.
Yeah, I know. I was like, what do you think, Howard? Yep. And, you know, normally we do it when there's a tornado watch, but we just thought for the Mid-Atlantic, the ingredients were so overwhelming in favor of severe weather that we just thought we'd give folks a little heads up, you know, as to the fact we could have damaging winds, tornadoes, and hail. And that is sort of what we're talking about in terms of threats today. We talked about this, you know, earlier this morning, and we have about every threat known to man here in terms of severe weather. So there's how he's tracking it. So it could clip southeast D.C., you know, Woodbridge 1240, Newington 1248, and then Groveton 1255.
Yeah.
So,
and I may be just a hair
and again,
north
it doesn't have to be tornadic.
I may have drawn this just a hair north, perhaps. Maybe it's more like that. But still, I think Mount Vernon, you got to prepare. 1253, Lorton, Woodbridge, Lake Ridge, Dale City. Take cover now. Treat this as a tornado on the ground. It's Doppler indicated last check, and I'm going to go back and peek one more time. Yeah, that tornado warning go until 1245 is the one we're looking at now for Prince William and Stafford. So nothing new on that at the moment as we continue to track that one, Topper. This has been a Doppler indicated, radar indicated, seeing the rotation. We don't have any confirmation. By the way, if it is safe to do so, when you get pictures or video, you can text them to us at 202-895-5700. You could tag us online at WSA9Weather, hashtag WSA9Weather. Reach out to me or Topper online. And, you know, be safe first, picture second, and landscape is better than portrait mode. Topper.
You know, we showed this earlier. I think we showed it earlier this morning, and it's not as ominous, but this is what we call the Tornado Threat Index. and it's just one model. And this is actually 1230, so right about now. And you notice the yellow is enhanced. But this model earlier had areas just north of D.C., between D.C. and Baltimore, in the high range. And that's sort of coming to pass with that tornado warning up near Baltimore. So this is very high for us to have such a large area covered with an enhanced or moderate tornado threat index. Now, as we step through this, you're going to see this is going to actually go away. And Howie talked about maybe getting the watch trimmed back. So we'll take it into like 1 o'clock, 1:30. By about 2:30, essentially, the risk is east of 95 and primarily across the bay. That's what we're concerned about. So we're really concerned about the next 2 hours in the immediate metro area for the potential for some damage and potential for some tornadoes. So we mentioned this morning, and again, we had all kinds of threats today with the red weather alert. Storms, yeah, we made that almost extreme. Hail, moderate. Tornadoes, almost moderate. And damaging winds, extreme. So we've had all these ingredients coming together, and that's why we're under a tornado watch until 6 o'clock, and that's why we're still concerned about winds with or without tornadoes as we go through the afternoon. I'll widen this out too, just so you can see what's going on. So there's the tornado watch. It covers everybody until 6 o'clock. And what does a watch mean? It means conditions are favorable. Get ready to take action. We go to a warning now in the deep red down to the south of us there, and the yellow severe thunderstorm warnings. That means it's happening. Whatever the warning is, it's happening. You need to act. Put your plan of action and just do it and have a plan. And hopefully folks had a plan, because we talked about this this morning, and Chester talked about it last night. Mary talked about it yesterday morning. So this is hasn't snuck up on us. We've known that the conditions were just ripe for severe weather. And again, once this goes through, it actually will probably turn partly cloudy and become nice, but we're also going to have 50, 60-mile-an-hour winds behind this once this totally clears the area. So keep that in mind, because in terms of the wind advisories, they go till 6 p.m. So they're kind of separate of the severe weather, if you will. So you folks in Prince George's County East, you're under a high wind warning until 6 o'clock. The rest of us under a wind advisory, except for the mountains. You too are under a high wind warning until 6 p.m. HB.
Hey, Topper, good news. The storm in Baltimore has expired on the warning. Stafford County has been dropped from the tornado warning, but we're still dealing with the warning till 12:45 in Prince William County. At the southern part of Prince William County, just to the north and west of I-95, we've got several severe thunderstorm warnings just west of Winchester and toward Cross Junction, trying to get up toward Clear Spring in Washington County with some potential hail up there. Here's D.C., so it's just to our west and southwest. I want to focus in now. There's an area flood warning also for D.C. up in Montgomery County. There's been some high water with some 3-inch rain totals, give or take, since last night. But the storm itself, and we're going to switch briefly to velocity because I've got to see where the winds are on this to give you a real feel for what's going on with that. So when we look at the velocities there, yeah, just to the north and west of Dale City is where we're seeing the opposing wind direction. So if you think about it, green toward and red away. So you've got this sort of convergence here and rotation going on, and this is why we have the warning from the National Weather Service. There's enough of that, enough of the wind, and treat this like a tornado on the ground. And there's sort of a notch too. And see that? And I'm going to point to it if I can. You see that notch? Is it? Let me get the right tool here if I can. Well, that notch south of Fitzner Stadium is one thing we're looking at right in there. So when we see that, that's sort of an indication of inflow into a storm. The storm itself is moving to the northeast, northeast at about 40 miles an hour. So sort of in that direction. Almost looks like it's on the north end of this box to me, Topper. I think it sort of got out of the box itself. But Doctors Express, 1236, Occoquan, 1241, Lorton, 1245, and Pohick at 1247 on the warning. Now, it is set to expire at 12:45 unless they extend it or issue a new one as it does traverse off to the north and the east. It is just, we're not talking very far from D.C., the storm itself, but, we're still talking, this is about 25 miles to the southwest of Washington in Prince William County, north and west of I-95. The storm that was up toward Howard and Baltimore is no longer tornadic, still a thunderstorm there, and the severe thunderstorms up to our northwest, as well as that whole line is moving to the east-northeast also at about 40 miles an hour, 45 miles an hour. I'll give you a quick track on that, too, if we can. If you're just tuning in, we've been tracking tornado warnings here and also some severe thunderstorm warnings as these move off to the east-northeast. So this line will be toward Gainsborough at 1237, Martinsburg at about 1247, Hagerstown just before 1 o'clock, and Charlestown, West Virginia at around 1:15. And here we've been tracking the threat for some strong hail, too, as well. So there's a lot going on, along with that tornado watch covering the entire area until 6 p.m.
Yeah, HB, a couple things. You know, in terms of the storm has kind of lifted north of the warning area, just north of right around Fitzner Stadium. And if you look at the shear here, this is actually the last scan, so this is not brand new, but it's got pretty good shear right there. Let me take off the warning. Hang on one second. And you'll see that the whole storm is kind of lifted a little bit. And so
we're not seeing a lot of lightning with this either.
They may have to reissue this or make it further north. Shear is only about 31 miles an hour, but if we go back then, if I take off the shear and we go back to the radar, you'll see, and the watch box and the warning, it like you mentioned, it has lifted considerably north of where it was.
Yeah, it looks like it's actually just maybe north of Dale City or on the north side of Dale City to me, Topper, headed toward Lorton and just on the northwest side of Woodbridge.
It's definitely on the north side, and you mentioned it's not far from D.C. So in terms of time, it's within about a half an hour of getting to D.C. if it were to hold together, and I think this is going to hold together and kind of ride up 95. Whether it remains tornadic, we don't know yet, but certainly it's going to have high winds. That's just
it literally
a given.
looks like
we want to emphasize that that's a given.
On 234, just west of 95, coming in toward Colby Drive, Old Bridge Road. I'm just zooming in here, Oak Farm.
All right, folks. I'm going to see if I can check for curiosity purposes. I'm going to check to see if I can get on right now WJLA television in Washington, which is the ABC affiliate of DC. So we'll try to get them on in just a second. Hit allow. There we go. Excuse me. Okay, I'll try to log in. Hopefully this time it will work out, because last thing I need is for this to just not work on me like it did the last time. Okay, looks like WJLA is available. We'll try to join them on in just a second because
issued in your neighborhood. So there you have it for right now. Bill and I will keep you updated not only for the rest of this newscast, but throughout the afternoon hours right here on ABC 7. Adriana, back to you.
All right, well done, both of you. Thank you. Well, remember to keep your Storm Watch 7 app handy.
All right, looks like WJLA is about to end their storm coverage. I just wanted to see what they were up to.
The ABC 7 Storm Watch 7 weather app. Well, our healthcare workers are the true heroes during this pandemic, and can only imagine.
Let me just check again, because we may go back to WUSA in just a second.
Save lives. Clarissa Ward.
Do apologize about that. I'm just gonna check WRC for a second.
Most of it will be trees. Again, we are not expecting.
Okay, here's WRC, because I normally trust them.
Today. There's the current wind gusts, 39 miles an hour in Annapolis, 24 in
we'll go
DC,
back to
25
WUSA in
so
just
it's not
a
all that
second.
much in the way of wind
So
now, but that wind
go
will
back
be
to
picking
them.
up as the secondary cold front moves on through, and that.
Now, for those viewers in DC expecting the Young and the Restless,
in Berkeley, City of
I
Winchester,
do feel bad for you guys. You're not getting that today.
That tornado warning has actually
Let's go back to
canceled off in
WUSA.
Prince William. Good news there. We have a flood advisory until 5 o'clock, covering D.C. and Montgomery County, southern Montgomery, and northwest D.C. We've had very heavy rains there, and more rain is coming in now. And we've got that other warning for Berkeley, Morgan, and Washington until 12:45, and the southern one toward Winchester Cross Junction, that goes until 1:15. For meteorologist Topper Shutt, I'm Howard Bernstein. We'll be online, and if any more tornado warnings do come out, we will, of course, break into programming. Have a safe afternoon, and stay with WSA 9. Don't forget the WSA 9 app as well. We'll give you the advisories and warnings, too.
This has been a WUSA 9 weather alert. Stay safe from the storm wherever you go. Download the WUSA 9 mobile app.
Easily 50 to 60 miles per hour with this line. It's just so easy for these storms when you have an area of low pressure like this to really just kind of bring down those winds to the surface, and we'll continue to watch that too. I'm looking out behind my house here in Bethesda Chevy Chase. The rain is now starting as this first line is now making its way in across the area. Amelia, was that something new that we have out there right now?
We have a new severe thunderstorm warning in effect for parts of Frederick and Washington counties in Maryland and Berkeley County in West Virginia until 1:30. That severe thunderstorm warning is now in effect until 1:30. And Doug, these storms are really picking up speed. When I was tracking them at midday, I mean, they were nearly stationary with this first line. Now the National Weather Service is saying that line back to the west where that severe thunderstorm warning is in effect is moving toward the east at 35 miles an hour. Parts of the line farther to the south are potentially even moving at 40 to 45 miles an hour.
And they're talking quarter-size hail with that one as well. With that, and that's the other thing too. As this area of low pressure, it's a cold area of low pressure making its way in, so it's got some cold air aloft. So that can help with hail formation as well. And that's also why we've got some of that lightning out there making its way in there. So we've got those severe thunderstorm warnings. Once again, no longer a tornado warning down toward that area. I know the red box is there, but that storm is now out of that tornado warned area, and they did not continue it. However, we are still showing rotation, and let me just drive for a second, Amelia. Yeah, I'm just taking off the storm track because now, very interesting to look at this, and I'm seeing it a little stronger too. Now we've got a little bit of a hook echo right there around the Lake Ridge area and around Occoquan, and now I'm also seeing the presence of that couplet a little stronger now. So even though they allowed that to expire, as I talked about, these things tend to get a little stronger. They tend to weaken just a little bit, and that's something that we're watching. And look right there, right around Occoquan. Yeah, that is a pretty good-looking couplet making its way in. I would not be surprised. Now, I don't know what level this is, and as a matter of fact, I'm going to take this down. I'm just looking on my radar here at home. Yeah, I'm going to take this up. So this is a pretty good little couplet that goes throughout. Throughout the atmosphere. So this is interesting to see. Are they going to issue yet another tornado warning associated with this storm? Yeah, they're going to have to, because this couplet's really wrapping up right now. Yeah, they're going to have to issue another tornado warning with this. This is right around Occoquan, right there at I-95, right where Route 1 and Occoquan come together. That's where we're seeing that enhanced couplet making its way to the north and east. So this is where we would have a potential for a tornado right along I-95. If you live down around the Newington Springfield area, this is the area that I'm talking about right now. Now, it says early on our radar, on our skits there, but I'm just looking at it from another vantage point here, and it is a much stronger couplet than I saw even earlier when they issued the previous tornado warning, and now we're closer to the radar. Amelia, can you go over to, let's go ahead and take a look at the radar out of Andrews Air Force Base, because this storm is coming very close to Andrews Air Force Base right now. You can actually see Andrews right there. You can actually, yeah, let's take a look at that if we can. Yep, we're looking at that right now. So we're going to go down to what's called the Camp Springs radar. This is right out of, it's there, Amelia, it's there, the ADW. Yep, it's there. Right there, and let's get rid of the other one. Yep, okay, and let's see if this is the tornado warning here. See if they reissue this tornado warning in towards parts of Fairfax County. Waiting to see if they're going to do that. Now, I'm just going to take it for a second, Amelia. I'm just going to drive for a second here, because what I want to see, and if I show you the sweep here, as I move on through the sweep, this is showing us that we've got this radar right there. Okay, they just issued a severe thunderstorm warning for this.
Yes.
And I guarantee you it has the potential of a tornado. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is
Well, go ahead,
until
Amelia. Tell us what we
1:30
got
for
there.
parts of Prince George's County. We have a new severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Prince George's County, the district, Arlington, Alexandria, Fairfax, and Prince William until 1:30. So the National Weather Service is saying, as you alluded to, Doug, that while this is a severe thunderstorm warning, in their remarks, they say that a tornado is possible. When they issue warnings like this, it basically means that the wind damage would be similar to a low-end weak tornado, an EF0, maybe an EF1. But again, we're looking at a severe thunderstorm warning now for gusts, wind gusts up to 60 miles an hour, and the potential for some quarter-size hail. This, again, is radar indicated out there. Again, that severe thunderstorm warning you're seeing on your screen right there, in effect until 1:30, Doug.
Yeah, and once again, we're just taking a look at the possibility of rotation here. This is a pretty good-looking cell where you've got this potential for a hook right in here. All right, so right in here. So what you've got your air flowing into the storm like this, and then you've got air coming down and around. So that's where you get a little bit of circulation right into this area. It is right now right over Lorton. If I'm in Lorton, if I'm in the Mount Vernon area, I'm getting into my shelter in place mode. I'm definitely getting inside my basement if you have one. I'm getting inside the if you live in an apartment, and this is very important, once again, you want to go to an interior room that does not have windows. And most of the time, folks, that is the bathroom, okay? That is the bathroom. So go ahead and head there right now. That is a good opportunity to get in there. I'm just looking at this on the radar. There's a pretty good couplet, even though there may not be a tornado on the ground right now. This storm does have some rotation, and we'll continue to watch this storm rotating off toward the north and east right now, right around the Lorton area. You also see there, let's take a look and see if there's any hail associated with this. Should be right around the Newington area is where we would see hail if there was any hail. There may not be with this one, but that's where it would be, right there. Right between Newington and Mount Vernon is where you would see the hail. So you would see the hail here, and the possible tornado would actually be a little bit down and west, south and west of where the hail core would be from this storm as it moves off toward the north and east. So that's something that, again, we're going to continue to watch for you over the next couple of hours. This goes until what time, Amelia? You said 1:15?
Yeah, this is going to be in effect, Doug, until 1:30 out there. And just, looking on Twitter, people saying, we're listening to you guys in Dumfries. We're in our basement with TVs on and full blast. At this point, as you said, Doug, this storm is now moving up a little bit farther to the north and east. But again, into parts of Fairfax County, southern parts of the county, you need to head to your basement right now. I am looking for some storm reports. I'm really not seeing any new reports coming in aside from reports that we got out there this morning. But again, over the next couple of hours, Doug, we're going to continue to see the potential for tornadoes, spin-up tornadoes, for strong gusty winds, for hail, and we could have some power outages, some wind damage across the area. That's pretty likely out there this afternoon. And as we look at Storm Team 4 radar, again, so to kind of reset, we had a tornado warning that was for Stafford and Prince William counties. The National Weather Service let that go until 12:45. At this point now, we have a severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect for parts of Fairfax, the district, Prince George's County. This is until 1:30. These storms are moving toward the northeast at about 30, 35 miles an hour. We have another severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect for parts of Winchester, Frederick, Clark counties, up into parts of West Virginia. Also, Frederick and Washington counties are under severe thunderstorm warnings. All of this with wind gusts potentially up to 60 miles an hour. That will lead to some wind damage. There's the potential for some hail out there as well. We're mild out there today. We're under a tornado watch until 6 p.m. We're under either a high wind warning or a wind advisory until 6 p.m. as well. Doug, looking at the latest again, I really think that a lot of this activity is over by about 4, maybe 5 p.m. So the next couple of hours, people definitely need to stay weather ready out there. I'm going to check the National Weather Service chat to see if they've updated any of these watches or warnings. Also, want to note we have some flooding concerns into parts of Montgomery County as well as the district from the heavier rain we had earlier today, and now more rain is moving back in.
Yeah, and once again, guys, we're taking a look at this much larger storm. This is the same storm yesterday that produced 42 tornadoes down in the parts of the south. At least 42 tornado reports down to the south, and we're watching this one make its way our way too. You can see, I want to show you the whole thing here, okay? Because this was the area out towards the east that brought the tornadoes and all the severe weather down to the south, okay? There was a secondary area of low pressure with a secondary front. That's right here. That's what we have coming through right now. That one also produced severe weather, but anytime you have a low-level circulation like that, or rather an upper level circulation like that, it does help to produce some low level circulation, and that's exactly what we're dealing with right now. Again, a wind advisory in effect for just about the entire area, wind warning for areas in our southwest or southeastern zones. There's still rotation with this storm just south of Washington, and let me get back down to this storm right here. Again, that line back towards the I-81 corridor. If you live along I-81 or now just to the east of I-81, take precautions. This one's going to have some strong winds. We will most likely see a new warning pop up any minute now that'll most likely take into effect parts of the rest of Jefferson County, Frederick County, maybe into Loudoun County as this storm right here, as this line makes its way right into the north, or right in towards the east. So that's what we're watching. Now, let me zoom back in on this area that did have that tornado warning a little bit earlier, and we'll continue to watch this. Now, we're going to let you guys get back to regular programming here coming up over the next couple of minutes here, but once again, we are looking at this very closely. No tornado warnings now, but this marker here tells us that we have the potential. We do have rotation in this area, and we'll continue to watch this as we move off, as it moves off toward the east at about 35 miles an hour. I'm also no longer seeing much in the way of a hook there. I'm just looking on my own radar here at the station, or at my at my station, and there's a little bit less of a pronounced couplet there, although it's still there. We still have it. National Weather Service might just be thinking it's just up to the north. So heads up, Alexandria, Mount Vernon, anywhere along Route 1. Between Mount Vernon and Alexandria, you're going to get hit very hard from this, okay? This is going to be a very strong storm coming through your area. This will then move over towards the Morningside area, over through 495 as well. So Amelia's there at the station. Once again, I'm here at home tracking everything, making sure everybody's staying safe. I'm going to throw it back into Amelia, and we can go from there over the next couple of hours. Once again, this tornado watch goes in effect until, or is in effect until 6 o'clock. We fully expect this to be done by around 4 o'clock this evening. The biggest threats, once again, wind, very heavy rainfall. We've already seen well over 2 inches of rain today from the earlier storms, so any more rain could produce some potential for flash flooding, and then hail and tornado threat. Even though it's low, it's much higher than normal for our region, and the tornadoes that we would get here would typically be fairly weak tornadoes, but that doesn't matter. You got trees around you, all it takes is one tree to come down. So please listen to what we're doing. This is I-95 looking down towards the Woodbridge area. You can see it is just a mess down there right now. Amelia?
Yeah, Doug, and here's what we can expect in the next couple of hours. Again, we have this tornado threat out there for about another 4 hours with the tornado watch in effect for everybody until 6 p.m. Now, everybody is going to be dealing with strong winds. You're either under a wind advisory or a high wind warning. So we'll be tracking strong winds into the evening hours. We're then breezy overnight tonight. And what you need to prepare for is the potential for power outages and wind damage. Wind damage is possible as we continue to track storms and rain moving through the area today. If a tornado warning is issued, you want to head to your basement or the lowest level of your home. Head to an interior room, something like a bathroom. If you don't have a basement, something without windows, as we continue to track this storm system rotating through the area. This line that's pretty much parallel with I-95 right now has prompted 2 tornado warnings. We're then now really focused on this line as well that's exiting parts of West Virginia, moving into parts of Northern Virginia and Western Maryland. This is leading to severe thunderstorm warnings out there that are in effect through the 1 o'clock, 1:30 time period. And again, we have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for parts of Prince George's, the District, Fairfax counties. This is in effect until 1:30. Both of these areas of storms could be producing winds gusting up to 60 miles an hour with some hail possible as well. So again, you want to stay weather ready out there these next few hours. Again, I really think we'll continue to see storms moving through until about 4 p.m. today. after 4 p.m., that severe threat does start to drop off. But again, at this point, we're no longer tracking any tornado warnings out there, but we do have a few severe thunderstorm warnings in effect. Doug and I are waiting to see if they extend this severe thunderstorm warning into parts of Jefferson, Loudoun, and Frederick County in Maryland. The National Weather Service issues these warnings, and then we bring them to you. These are, again, we're tracking severe thunderstorms with gusts up to 60 miles an hour potentially right around Winchester right now. Moving into parts of Prince George's County around the Beltway, going to be dealing with some intense rainfall, very heavy rainfall over the next 30 to 40 minutes or so. These storms are generally moving toward the east-northeast at about 30 to 40 miles an hour, so they're moving rather quickly out there, and we're going to continue to track the potential for severe weather over the next few hours. Again, a tornado is possible. High wind gusts are likely area-wide out there. Doug and I will keep you updated on social media, on Facebook, on Twitter, and we'll be here on NBC Washington throughout the afternoon. Stay safe and stay weather ready, everybody. We now return to our regular programming.
Spicy taco. Now his world explodes.
Okay, everyone, Eddie Pollack back live. You were just watching WRC television in Washington, D.C. Looks like all affiliates in D.C. have, in fact, left the air, so I'm just going to double check right now. Can I get WUSA? I'm just trying to get WUSA back on. I'm just double checking it. I am having a problem loading up WUSA TV right now, so stand by. Okay, so WUSA right now is running a crawl underneath the screen. I'm not allowed to show you it per FCC requirements. Okay, what about WJLA? I'm just checking affiliates. Ooh, boy, this is interesting. WJLA is running a ticker on the bottom of the screen because they were just running a promo for Jeopardy. And I know I gotta watch 2 episodes of Jeopardy because, I'm like 2 episodes behind on the college tournament, so nobody spoil it, please. I know a couple sophomores won. Last episode I watched was Wednesday. And let me just check WTGG, which is Fox 5 DC. Okay, this is interesting, folks. I'm going to take you to WTGG right now. They are still on the air.
Storm and lots of cloud ground lightning being reported with it at the moment here. So you can again see the area that's under that severe thunderstorm warning. It roughly extends now from Alexandria across the Beltway there up towards Oxon Hill and into Prince George's County. A severe thunderstorm warning until 1:30 this afternoon. So again, we're going to continue to see potentially some problems here over the near term. And that particular storm system has a history of producing a tornado-warned storm. So we're going to watch that very carefully. Okay, I'm going to just quickly off to the north and west. I want to show you once more, and then I'm going to wrap this here. And we will, of course, return if we get additional tornado warnings. But I just want to show you again up towards Hagerstown just one last time. That is a severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 1:30 this afternoon. Now crossing 81, Hagerstown down towards Winchester. Big picture, Mike, and then I'm going to wrap it here. We've got several severe thunderstorm warnings, including here in Washington, Prince George's County. You're up next. We've had not one but 2 thunderstorms that have had tornado warnings attached to them, and the potential is very much there. Mike, just show the tornado watch one more time. Tornado watch in effect for the entire region until 6 o'clock this afternoon. I will be here all afternoon as long as we need to be, and we'll break in if we get additional tornado warnings. But please take the weather very seriously this afternoon. We're not going to be in the clear till approximately 3, 4 o'clock this afternoon. We've got a couple rounds of thunderstorms and potentially severe thunderstorms we got to deal with before we can call it clear on this system. That is latest from the Fox 5 Weather Center. I'm going to let you get back to your regular programming, but with additional tornado warnings, I promise I'll break in and give you the very latest. Thank you.
And there you have it. Fox 5 DC was the last affiliate to leave the air. So once again, the following affiliates have resumed back to their regular programming. WRC NBC4, WJLA ABC 7, WTGG, you just saw them, Fox 5 DC, and WUSA Channel 9, which is CBS. So they have all went back to their regular programming. Now, as far as anything right now, I don't have any, updates from Wakefield or, yeah, I'm not getting anything from them. I'm not getting any tornado warnings at the moment on my phone, so I'm just checking. Okay, I don't see anything at the moment there. MWS, Mount Holly. Oh, folks, I just got something interesting. According to, let me put the camera down. I do apologize. My goodness. Put up a little bit. There we go. That's better. According to NWS Mount Holly, and I quote, measured wind gust up to 82 mile per hour at Island Beach State Park, New Jersey. 82 mile per hour wind gust. So even though Long Island may have not seen that wind gust yet, I showed you that picture yesterday of Long Island. 82 mile an hour wind gust. I mean, that's very alarming. Okay, breaking news from Spain regarding coronavirus. Spain begins lifting lockdown as infections fall, so... Oh, now there's controversy with Dr. Fauci. Yep. I mean, that's just amazing how people have turned on Anthony Fauci over a previous opinion. Very interesting. Very interesting. So, let me just check the live chat, and then I do have to leave the air shortly. Yeah, I just want to get off of DC for a second. There we go. Yeah, I know, Joy Jung. We were just talking in the chat. So, I think with that, we're going to wrap up everything. Again, if I am available and if I do hear anything else today, I will keep you all posted. Once again, I do have to leave the air right now. My meeting on Zoom starting in 25 minutes, so I have to get ready for that. And then I got to figure out at what time I'm making lunch. Maybe I'll even catch up with the Jeopardy College Tournament today, because I'd love to do that. And, yeah. Thank you, everyone. Thank you all for watching. This has been Andy's Randomness Special Report.
This has been an Andy's Randomness Special Report.